This is section 11.6. We're going to look at area of a circle. Theorem 11.8 tells you how to find the area of a circle. If a circle has an area of capital A square units and a radius of lowercase r units, then A, hard to see here, PowerPoint does this weird thing on an iPad, equals pi r squared. So all you do is plug in your radius, whatever number that happens to be, you square it, and you multiply it with pi. That's how you find your area. That's the size of that circle. So let's find the area of each in terms of pi and round it to the nearest hundredth. You are going to need a calculator. If you don't have one, get one. I'm going to write down my formula first. Pi r squared for area of a circle. If the radius is 3, I'm just going to plug that 3 in and I'm going to square it. Now I know that 3 squared is 9. 9 times pi is my area in square centimeters. Now if you want to round and get a rounded answer, I'm going to type this in, 9 pi. I'm going to use the pi button. I'm going to get 28.27 square centimeters. So both of those are acceptable answers. The first one's in terms of pi, the second one is rounded. So the top one's exact, the bottom one's very close, but the bottom one is actually a little bit smaller than the actual answer. That's how you do it when you have a radius. If they give you a diameter instead, what you need to do is convert that diameter to a radius. Remember, radius is half of a diameter. So our area would be pi times 7 squared, which is 49 pi. And don't forget your units, always squared when you find area. 49 pi feet squared. Now that number might not mean a whole lot to you. Type it in your calculator. 153.94 square feet. That's how that goes. There are backwards examples. For example, if you had the area, could you find the radius, the diameter, the circumference? We want to round all these answers to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so let's look how these go. We're still going to write down our formula. Area equals pi r squared. I know I got to write that down because they give me my area. 56.25 pi. Okay, now don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. Just cross off the pi's. When you get your area in terms of pi, it makes it a little bit easier. So we have a radius squared. That's going to equal a decimal. If you want to unsquare that radius, just take the square root of it. Okay, so again, you're going to need a calculator for this. No real way around it. What is the square root of 56.25? It's 7.5. And this is in feet. First power. We're not finding an area, we're finding a radius. Okay. Now, if that's your radius, wouldn't that make the diameter 15 feet? Wouldn't that make the circumference 15 pi feet? And then you can type that into the calculator. What is 15 pi? 47.1. And that's in feet. Okay, so we got our radius, we have our diameter, and we have our circumference. Okay, number 4, I don't remember what we had in there. I don't remember what you have on your notes. Let's go with something simple. Let's say circle with an area of 100 square inches. Okay, now notice how this area is not in terms of pi like the other one. Okay, so that's going to change things just a little bit. The first thing you're going to have to do is divide by pi. Then you 1 square. So what is 100 divided by pi? Okay, now this is going to give you an exact answer. You don't want to round this one. Okay, what you want to do immediately is take the square root of whatever is in your calculator. Okay, so I'm just going to type in second and hit that x squared button so my radical comes up. Now I need that answer, so I'm going to hit the second button again and hit my negative to retrieve that answer that I just typed in. And this gives me the exact answer, 5.64. And again, that's exact on my calculator, but rounded on your screen, 5.64 inches. Now, I'm not going to multiply that 5.64 by 2. I'm going to multiply the number on my calculator by 2. And then I can round that. 11.28. That's how I find my diameter. Okay, now I'm going to take that same number again, and I'm going to multiply that by pi. That's how I'm going to get my circumference. And I get 35.45 inches. If you start multiplying your rounded answers by 2 and then multiplying them by pi, you're going to start creating error from one step to the next. These guys aren't exact, but they're rounded from the exact answer. Okay, don't take a rounded answer and then calculate another answer.